What is going on, you guys? It's your boy, the GNU Zoomer here, and we're back with episode 73 of the video game therapy series. Just be placing glass today, so hopefully I can finish off this part of this bucket project. But yeah, it's some interesting things to talk about today. Well, again, I guess the interesting part is subjective, but things that I find interesting. So I think naturally I am a bit of, I suppose angry might be a strong word, but I feel like I don't know exactly. Again, the "who are you" question is always kind of a difficult metaphysical question, but I feel the most not like somebody else when I am a bit angry, a bit maybe not angry, but like on edge, vindictive, indignant, perhaps a little. I don't know, a little bit of edge. I think I'm the most, again, the most myself. Again, I'm being very crude with that when I'm fired up about something. Really, I don't, and you know, 'cause a lot of times I try to have a mostly calm demeanor, and I'm not sure how I come across in these videos, but most of the time I am, very calm, level-headed, almost invisible in a lot of ways, and that again isn't necessarily like I'm not holding back the animal per se, but I really don't. I don't feel alive when I'm acting that way. I feel the most. I just feel like I'm again kind of playing a part of a movie, right? I'm just somebody who's there not to fuck anything up or piss anybody off. But when I am in the right environment around people that I can get angry about something or rant about something, without people like, what the hell's wrong with this guy? And that's happened before where I'll like kind of rant on something. It's not that I'm like legitimately like I'm gonna beat this person up angry. It's just that I'm kind of I'm on a roll with ranting about something right now. I don't. It's not like I'm, you don't need to try to calm me down. And if anything, it's just gonna like direct my anger towards you. But I feel the most like myself again when I'm a little fired up, and I'm very aware of the fact that I could actively try to change that about myself. Right? I could, again, I already do meditate several times a day, but I could, take more measures even to make myself even more of this calm, kind of empty person. But again, like I said, I feel, I snuck it in. I feel empty when I'm just this, when I'm always in this calm mood. And a lot of times it's not like, the rage, like this rage, I suppose rage is even the wrong word to use, but it like builds up. But I don't really feel like myself when I'm just being very calm and like, I guess very, very diplomatic about how talking to somebody. Like my worst nightmare is small talk with somebody that I'm trying to make a good impression with. I'm just so I literally feel like there is a sheep's mask on my fucking face, and I just hate it more than anything. Like just smiley, talking nicely and softly, and it's like no worse feeling to me in the world than having to do something like that. And so I could try to change myself because I realize what happens, me being me and a little pissed off and a little bit too intense, almost like, David Goggins level intense where I'm like saying fucking in every word, because I do that all the time too. Like my language itself is quite vulgar. I'd say comparatively to some, Obama or somebody who's very, very calm and whatnot. I generally, my most honest speech is vulgar, right? It's got like fucking shit all over it. And it's not because I need to say those words. It's mostly just for emphasis, and it's the free flowing. It's just what the word my brain comes to, right? I can talk at length about how modular fucking shit are. But fuck especially is a very, very, wonderful word to use. Regardless, I feel like myself when I'm speaking in that word, and I know that I could try to change myself, but the question I revert back to is, do I want to? And it's not like I realize that me being myself harms my marketability, my value in the market, right? I'm a less, no one wants to, I'm going to bomb a job interview if I'm sitting there saying, well, fucking shit, I don't give a fucking shit, like no one's going to hire that guy. And even talking at some stupid networking event, No one wants to talk to the guy who's like, that guy seems super pissed off about something. And that's just, again, that's just when I feel like the most like myself or most not like somebody else. So I realize it kills my marketability if I hide that. And the kind of obvious nuance answer is to, okay, well, know when to, know the time and place kind of thing. But at a certain point, again, this kind of comes back to my whole lack of compromisation thing. I think at a certain point, the more I begin to compromise and like be okay putting on and taking off this mask, the more I just lose whatever sense of self I may have be searching towards, right? One could even argue that one's entire existence of life is all of self-discovery. It's all self-discovery. Anyone who claims to have figured out themselves is either a simpleton or an idiot or a liar. Really, I think there's a good argument to be made that all of this, I discovered who I truly am, is all just self-delusion, right? I would say a strong argument on that part. But again, like I said, this is sort of touchy-feely a bit, but I feel more like myself when I am talking with a bit of an edge, with some intensity, with some speed, kind of the spitting talk a little bit, versus if I'm, being this like bubbly motherfucker who's, smiling and talking about, bunnies or something stupid. It's not like, that's just not, I don't talk like that. Okay. I'm not like that. I've never been like that. And it's like, yes, I realize I could change myself. I could be different. I could be somebody who could do that. But at a certain point, then I have to love putting on what I find is the fucking sheepskin mask. It's fake. That's not who I am. I feel like somebody else doing that. And I realize part of the change is that I begin to feel more normal that way. But at a certain point, it asks of me how much I want to change myself to fit in with other people. And I realize that there's some sacrifice that comes just naturally over time, but I think there's a certain power in withholding some of that sacrifice. I'm not going to just, because I suppose you guys, where does it end, right? Where I just change everything just so, it's better, it improves my marketability, or I'm seen as less of a lunatic by somebody else. I'm not saying to embrace your inner lunatic, because I think everybody has, I'm not saying to entertain the wildest and deepest, darkest fantasies and all these horrible, because everyone who's being honest with themselves thinks of horrible things sometimes. And that's just fair. That just happens. They have dreams and all of a sudden they wake up, they're like, what the fuck? Am I evil? What kind of question is that? I don't know. I'm not saying to embrace those and run with it, but I'm saying at a certain point, ignoring them can't be the answer either. I think there's a certain level of embracing. And again, I guess psychologists and people have all used different words for this. I think Jung used like the shadow self, and other people have all alluded to it in their writings, and they all call it different things. And it's interesting that it seems like many different people across many different areas of study, psychologists, philosophers, all kind of land on this, like, there's this fucked up person inside of you, or there's this deeper person, or this dark person, or these, like, the angel devil on the shoulder type thinking. And again, it kind of validates that idea a little bit, that there's this other person. I'm not saying that the angry part of me is the bad person, because in a lot of ways I think it's the more honest, authentic person is not the person who is, again, smiling, talking about the weather and bunnies or something like that. It's the person who's, be saying fucking shit all the time. That's just who I am. And I don't know, again, I'm not saying I know who I am, but I know that I'm not the guy, with the corporate mask on. I can't do it. So I don't know, there's this, and I hate that it's even a balancing act at all, but between, the marketability of my person and my personality and me, versus who I might think I am. And again, I don't know who I am, but I think I am somebody. I know that I'm somebody that hates that, that fake ass person, and somebody who I feel more alive. Actually, I suppose that's the easiest way to put it. I feel neutral and or dead most of the time, but when I'm a little angry about something, I feel more alive than I do doing anything else. So I don't know what that says. Again, maybe I'm just this evil person, right, who needs to be angry, and they should lock me up and throw me in a fucking mental asylum, and I guess fuck you if that's the if that's what society thinks of people that like to think about things. I'm not in any immediate danger to anybody, but I suppose if I'm a criminal for believing that the more authentic part of me is a little bit angry sometimes, or I guess angry is again not even the right word. Maybe just a little intense. I suppose I can freak people out. I don't know. Part of it's I have a, and this is just, I don't know, me just being stupid. I kind of purposely freak people out sometimes, and this is really, I talked about this before, but specifically like going to the gym. So I kind of walk like a maniac. I try to I don't really try, but I just, at this point it's natural. But walking like a symmetric walker is non-threatening. But somebody who walks asymmetrically, whether it's like a limp, or one of their arms is moving, the other one isn't, or there's some, like their head is cocked weird, those people freak you out, right? And I think naturally I've adopted, and this is only when I'm walking to the gym, mind you, this isn't like all the time. I adopt an asynchronous walk, where like one of my arms is swinging, the other one's not. I'm kind of twitchy a little bit, and again, part of it is just so nobody like, hey, do you have time to talk to you about Jesus Christ? Like, no one steps in front of me with some pamphlet or bothers to stop me. Even if I have my head is bleeding or my shoes untied, I don't want anyone stopping me for any reason. Like I'm at that point, in this specific instance, I am focused on one thing and one thing only, getting to the gym. And even in the gym, they are kind of twitching and spazzing out a little bit, just kind of freaking people out. And again, there's something, not saying that I enjoy fucking with people, and I don't really view it as me fucking with people. I view it more as like a self-defense mechanism, so people leave me alone. And I guess I can monopolize the gym equipment longer if people's like, I don't want to get near that guy. That guy seems like he's on drugs or something. But I guess it's kind of an alter ego of sorts that I'm putting on to give me some more breathing room on things. But I don't know. I guess I do that on purpose. But I feel more like myself doing something like that than I would if I was wearing a suit or something. I don't wear a suit. I feel I look ridiculous. I feel ridiculous. I feel like I'm going to a circus, right? Yeah, I look sharp, whatever. I feel like I'm going to a circus wearing this. And I don't know. It's not like I know exactly who I am. And I think anyone that, I know exactly who I am, they're lying to themselves. I don't know. I think there's a very valid argument to be said about the entire life's pursuit is all about self-discovery. Who are you? Because there's no way you roll out of bed once when you're 35 and go, oh yeah, I am a car salesman and this is exactly who I am. It's like everything is just kind of, I don't know. At a certain point, people maybe just give up on things, and maybe that seems like a sentiment I've come to a lot. Is why are people no longer curious about things beyond their childhood? They give up. Why do people decide end this journey of self-discovery? They give up. I don't know. I think maybe that's a core sentiment amongst a lot of the woes and things I see with people in society, is that there's people just giving up about everything. They give up finding out who they are. They give up on, I don't know, a number of things. And I don't know, maybe that's a little harsh, but that's maybe it's not entirely out of pocket to think that. So I don't know. Yeah, so here's something else to talk about. Everyone's heard of the tragedy of commons. I'm not going to go through that, but I think that maybe an extension of that is that the tragedy of scale is what I kind of dubbed it. I don't know. Big things tend to suck. I mean, I can't really think of anything that is like any organization or idea or anything that grows beyond a certain size doesn't eventually suck in some way. I think good things generally are smaller. Maybe the scale, like what scale I'm talking about here, is important. I suppose to be more specific on this, I'm referring mostly to organizations or ideas or groups, or even something as stupid as like a group chat or something. I think the larger things get, it just always ends up sucking at some point. Bigger things always tend to suck. And companies are a prime example of this. Smaller companies, were, I guess at one point in their timeline, were you're always revered for being these quick, fast actors, monopoly busters, yada yada yada. Google was, a company everyone wanted to work for, and for good reason, And now, of course, they're at this certain size that they suck, right? Same with, early days of Apple, and there's again, I could enumerate the tech companies that fall into this category, but really just other things. I think even, again, being maybe more on the political side, like governments to a certain point. At a certain point of their size and their bloat, end up sucking. Schools are the same way. At a certain point, end up sucking. Even like ideas, right? I think, maybe like small hacker groups, right? 20, 30 people. It's this like lean machine. Everyone's got this united vision. And then all of a sudden, it's 400,000 people. And there's some big conference and everyone's just t-shirts and speakers. And it's just like, what the fuck is this? This sucks. So maybe it's just a personal preference that I think smaller things just are better. The things that stay small just stay better. And after a certain size, everything just starts to suck. But I don't know. There's a tragedy of scale. Maybe this goes on with other things too, like even manufacturing wise, right? I think, somebody who's, I don't know, making saddles or something like that, be small, maybe it's a family operation, right? They're going to make good shit, right? They don't make shitty saddles. Like they're going to make good shit. And then, they ramp it up, they buy a factory, they're mass producing shit, and then they pump out garbage, like literal crap. Even something, clothing, any kind of materials to follow that same trajectory. I think the larger scale they're produced, the quality just goes down too. And I think it extends obviously very trivially to, I don't know, mass produced items. But I think it extends further to ideas, right? I think ideas that eventually that reach a certain number of people begin to suck. Even like, I mean, now the words don't even mean anything, but even like political ideologies that a small group uses, and then all of a sudden it just devolves into some fucking cesspool. I don't think anybody even can. Nobody agrees on what a democracy is or isn't, right? They just kind of have these vague ideas, and then the implementation of it gets all fuzzy. And again, I think at a small scale, at all, like, a group of 5, a democracy is easy, right? If 3 people vote on one thing, it's yes, otherwise no, right? That's simple. But then you have gajillion people, and there's all this other shit, and there's these different, what the hell's going on? I think, and maybe it's just the limitation with the human mind, because I think here's another, I guess, problem with the scale at which we operate now, is that again, maybe I'm kind of artificially revering an earlier time, but there's a point in time where you could comprehend, I suppose that we can put this under the metaphor of or the analogy of manufacturing. So there's like, let's say making shoes. All right, there's a point in time where, again, one person made every step of the shoes. They understood the process deeply. They understood what you needed to do to make each part of the shoe, and because they did the whole thing themselves. It wasn't like it was, they didn't go to school for it or anything. They understood the whole process. Now, like, I feel like we are so far abstracted from any one person able to comprehend even like a trivial system. I think even now, like, one person understanding, like, let's say the manufacturing of a shoe, one person understanding that would be a life's work worth of of research and knowledge that they would have to accumulate over decades of experience, because all the parts of manufacturing, they have to go into the rubber manufacturing, each of the machines and how the machines work, and then quality control process, the leather, how the leather is sourced from start to finish. Like the amount you'd have to understand to comprehend the full cycle of one, from the rubber to the the raw rubber, the raw leather, whatever, to the actual shoe. Whereas at a certain point in time, that was all well understood. And so if you apply that to, I don't know, something like government, at a certain point, people could, now we can conceptually understand the government, but the nuances, the ins and outs that the early shoemakers would know, you're a liar if you think that somebody can fully comprehend the full nuances of a system as large as the government or a country or the economy. That's what really pisses me off about people that like have these economic theories about the way the world should work. I think there is no, if you're a career economist, 4 11 PhDs. You can have as many PhDs as you want. I don't give a shit. There's no shot that one human brain is able to understand and collect all of the information, the knowledge of all the systems with all the nuance. Like it's just too complicated. There's billions of, it's literally impossible, right? Whereas I think if you were to have like, let's say we have a town of 1,000 people and you wanted to like deeply understand and, model the town of 1,000 people and their economy. Like that is possible, right? It's 1,000 people. At a certain point, you can even go ground up, right? One person at a time. And again, it kind of is helpful in that sense. And I'm not saying that no economist can ever be right about everything, but I think at some point we're splitting hairs, but we're splitting hairs at like a percentage we're totally ignorant of, right? This idea might be 50% accurate. It might be 10% accurate. It might be 4% accurate. You have no fucking clue because the size of the entire system is far beyond your little measly brain's comprehension, and mine too. I'm directing this at everybody. I just think anyone who claims to, well, it's, it pisses me off the most is like the free market idealists who go, oh well, the invisible hand of the free market supply. I think at a certain point between like this micro and macroeconomics or whatever, at a certain scale, maybe it's number of people, maybe it's again like a dollar amount. I'm speaking specifically about like economic theories here. The whole invisible hand of the free market just goes to complete garbage. Like, sure, maybe it describes 50% of market activity. Maybe it describes 5% of market. Maybe it describes, 80 in some specific instance. I don't know. You don't know either. So I just think, but using it as like this, I think it doesn't do anything but just distract from what might have actually happened. Because the thing is, we'll take a specific instance, like, I don't know, like the whole GameStop shit, whatever happened. I forgot what happened. 4chan got their hands on it or something. And then somebody will go, well, the free market, how does the system is so convoluted. It does not describe what happened there. Maybe it describes 2% of what occurred there. But I think even bickering over the percentage of there's a percentage of what this theory describes the situation is a waste of time because it can't. You can't conceptualize all of it at once. And I think that's the problem with things that reach a certain size, is that a single person brain, even a committee of people, don't have the collective, not even brain power, but just the collective capacity to deal with the nuances of problems at that scale, right? Because the only thing that has happened with, again, as we've moved towards a combined society, everything's just one big mesh, is that the problems are now like international, whereas problems would be local. Like if we had local problems, they could be easy to, okay, we have an infestation of frogs. All right, I don't know, the leading idea is to release a bunch of birds or something. I don't know. But the problem was still, okay, we have 2,000 frog that it's affecting these 5,000 people. The problems now, literally every problem now affects everybody else all the time. I think that level of interconnectedness, coupled with the fact that the human brain, or 10 human brains, or 100 human brains, or 1,000 human brains, cannot communicate and understand an entire multi-trillion whatever system, factors of system. They can't do it. It's just not, I think even just computationally, it doesn't work. And I suppose, one solution is, let's just let AI run everything. I think there's even more problems with doing something like that. We're stuck between a wall and a rock and a hard place, at that point. But I guess I want to make the postulation that the scale at which things operate today and the nuances that are required go beyond any one person's comprehension. So I think describing it or understanding even just one minuscule part of a larger system it cannot be done even in a lifetime, right? Even just somebody who is the master of manufacturing like a Twinkie or something as stupid as that, to understand like the full system from start to finish, sourcing of the ingredients, suppliers, and how that works with the manufacturing, with the machines that inject the cancer-inducing liquid shit into all that would take decades for somebody start to finish to to understand all of the system. At any point, you're just injecting people who understand, who see, 2% of the picture to make decisions, and then no wonder their decisions suck. It's even the same with like politicians who make boneheaded decisions about things. I think I see it especially with like technologies, because it's so apparent that they understand so little. Well, like they see like 2%, they understand 2% of it, and they make some boneheaded decision. Obviously, they made a boneheaded decision, and it's not like they're doing it out of malice. It's because they only understand 2% of the system. And yeah, of course, there's people who understand. Maybe they're technologists who understand 40% or 80% or something. Well, again, you could make up the percentages to fit your narrative, but then they're like, well, this guy's obviously a bonehead. They should leave it to the experts or whatever. But literally every decision, you're expecting one person to understand how many different like decisions. I mean, what? That seems like, what do you think about what you're asking of them? That's ridiculous. Like, they have to be, not only do they have to understand technology, but they can understand laws and all the states. I mean, my God, the number of things that they would have to truly understand to be like an informed decision maker are in like the trillions of variables. So expecting one little, even a group of humans that, or dinosaurs in this case, talking about Congress, to make the right call, you're an idiot. I mean, I think you're foolish for even believing that would work. It'd be one thing if it was like some robot that people could fuck around with, and we could have like the technologists programming the technology decisions, and I guess the people making Twinkies program that part of their decision making. Again, we could have maybe this one massive collective intelligence. I don't view that as a great idea either. I think some people who are very gung ho in this whole AI thing think it's a great idea. We should let AI do the government thing, and we'll all get to skateboard and eat ice cream. Yeah, that we'll see how that works out. I'm not. I don't bet that that's how it's going to work. I bet you'll be doing something horrible. So, somebody will give it a paperclip maximizing problem, and then we'll all be bending paperclips for a living or something stupid. So, I don't know. Yeah, I think maybe it's just I have this view of the human mind to be very, very limited in what it can do. And maybe it's just limited in our understanding of what it can do. Again, I think it is capable of, obviously capable of great things, but I don't think we're not able to harness that. We don't know if it's, a water gun or a planet destroyer. We can't really, and even if it was, we don't know how to direct any of that. Like, I think perhaps we've seen instances where, this brilliance is directed towards something, and that gives us reasons to be optimistic, but I don't think I certainly don't think it helps us in case of governance when we're asking, some 80-year-old meatball to make a decision on, Gmail security or monopolies in technology. I mean, obviously I'm like ragging on them a little bit, but I can't really fault them because they don't know any better. Like, and I know they don't know any better because they don't know anything. Like, if you asked me to make decisions on Twinkie manufacturing, I'd make a boneheaded decision because I don't understand it, and I can't. And I think the way it's set it up was we have these groups of people who are supposed to understand stuff, but then it collectively, but there's just no way they can. There's just so many, there's too much. It's too much. So, I mean, at least for good decision making, I suppose if you wanted shitty decision making, I mean, now you get what you got. So I suppose I wouldn't expect anything less. So, I don't know. So, I don't know. I'll move on to another topic. I guess these are all just ones to get me a little bit angry, a little bit peeved off, but again, that's when I feel the most like myself. But anyway, freedom is, and I almost don't like using the word freedom because I feel like it just has this, I don't know, I've mentioned it before, but the certain connotation with it. Like I just want to shoot people, right? I feel like that's like a strange fixation that people have, is when someone says freedom, they just assume I'm some like gunslinging country motherfucker who just wants to shoot people and eat burgers all the time, or I'm a dumbass or something. I don't know. I even hate just using the word freedom. I feel like we've lost it. But I think people that don't care about freedom, which I used to think those people didn't exist, but there are people that legitimately would rather just be told what to do all the time, and they just prefer having no decisions to make. They prefer no autonomy. Like they would like to just do whatever anyone tells them all the time, right? I don't really know. Again, I myself don't understand these people, obviously, but I know that they exist. I think And perhaps it's the same thing as the whole curiosity thing. I think maybe intrinsically humans have this desire for autonomy, and then at a certain point we give up and it's beaten out of them. And some people just go, fuck it. Tell me what to do. Tell me where to go. Tell me what to spend money on. Tell me what to do. Tell me everything, right? And I'll just do it. And that's the people that just sacrifice every bit of any decision making they have, and so it's okay, And I think there's different layers of abstraction with that too. I think it's one thing to, I guess it's one thing to just be told where to work and what to do, but people draw the line at weird spots with that too. They're like, I want to work where I want, but then I want to be told where to spend my money with like targeted ads. It's like, okay, so where's this line between where you want decision making, where you don't, or it's not even just, it's like where you want influence, right? It's like, I think people who are passionate and care about freedom, they want to be as free from other, nefarious influence as possible. And I guess nefarious would be the key word there, but I don't know. I don't want targeted ads, and I don't want ads in the first place. They're just telling me what to buy. And the thing is, I don't need any of this shit. Like, again, I think there's inbuilt ads in my cerebral cortex telling me to eat food and go to sleep. That's it. I don't need to be told to buy the shit that they're making now and selling is the dumbest shit. Like, I don't need another mug that says, some pseudo-ironic quote on. I don't need another t-shirt. I don't need any of that shit, and neither do you. And I don't know. I hate Target. I hate ads. I mean, my God, something to get me fired up. But freedom, so I'm excusing people that don't care about freedom in any sense. Like, they just, again, they don't care. They don't value that at all. More laws, make sure no one can do anything. Whatever. I don't care. But I think those that don't get it just don't get it. And I think if you aren't like impassioned about it, I don't really think it's in anyone's best interest for you to have an opinion on it. So, like, for example, in the current economy, I don't feel free personally. I feel like I have my options. I have options to either starve and do as I please or have freedom, or to not starve and do what someone else says, which again, I don't view as being free. Now, again, you're free to work whatever job you want. And free, again, I have options to, again, starve and do what I want, or to do what someone else tells me to do and not starve, right? And it's like, okay, well, that's not really that free. And I realize that a certain amount of that is just abstracted from, I guess, the biological restrictions I have. So yes, my body, I'm not free from my body, insert that snake meme where he's talking about they give a snake legs, and it's like, ever since I've discovered the limitations of my flesh, I'm disgusted at my flesh, or something like that. Anyway, but yeah, I realize the body has like intrinsic biological restrictions on eating and sleeping and whatever. Like, I get that those are like freedoms that are inherently removed from me, but now we've just kind of abstracted them into, okay, well, if you don't want if you don't want to starve to death or die or whatever, now you have to do these other things, which are flip burgers or sit behind this desk and whatever, or turn call it. And yes, I realize that people out there like enjoy what they do somehow or whatever. And I'm personally someone that would like to do what I do for no money, meaning that I would like to do what I do for free. And I think people say that, well, I love my job. I'd do it if I was getting paid nothing. Really? You're a regional sales? Like, no, you fucking wouldn't. You would not. You're a liar. You're telling, like, so why do you ever call off work, huh? Like, do you go into work on your off day? Even if they do, again, I'm not, there's not a job that exists that would pay me for things that I would do for free. At least not one that is easily attainable. I'm sure that somebody would pay me in some alternate universe. I'd be getting paid to make these stupid fucking videos, which I'm doing for free already, obviously, but I'm already someone that is kind of hell-bent on wanting to do what they do for free regardless. And I think people don't understand what I mean by that. And it's not like, oh, I would theoretically do this for free. I do this for free. I actually do, and I would, because I am. And it's like, you can't say that you would do this for free, but then not do it for free. Like, if you would truly do it for free, then you're either doing it or you can't do it because you're doing some other bullshit, use it for money. So again, I view that as like restrictions on freedom. And again, some of it is society all has really done. It has abstracted the biological restrictions we've had, and then it layered on abstractions, and yeah, we get, I guess, porn or, filtered water now or something. But now instead you have to, you're now restricted in other ways where you have to participate in this economy. You have to pay taxes and all this other shit. And obviously I'm coming off a bit anarchist with that whole thing, but I don't. There's still a strong level of restriction that I feel in this realm. And again, if you're not someone that values freedom or really gets that, or you think, well, I'm free to do whatever I want. I could quit my job right now. Yeah, but you still have, you're not able to exit. You can't exit. I can't exit, even if I chose to, because I would probably be beaten to death in the woods because I'm not paying taxes or something. I don't know. So I don't know. I think there's people who don't get the whole freedom argument or why they don't feel free. And I can't tell you why I don't feel free, but I don't feel free. And if you feel free, then great. I envy you, right? It's the same with like, oh, I love my job. I envy you. I wish that someone would pay me to do the shit that I actually want to do, but that's just not it. It just doesn't. We'll find something. But yeah, but the thing is, there's subject to, again, the invisible hand of the free market. There are infinitely more things that people do that they would not get paid for than they would get paid for, right? I feel like people just view a market of jobs and how there's a lot of them to defend the fact that there's probably something to do that you can make money. There's feasibly there is an infinite number of things that nobody would pay any money for. There's no money involved. You would never get paid for. And I think the reason, the telling part about this, to me at least, is historically there have been lots of, and these are mostly artists, philosophers, thinkers, other people, and even just, I don't know, any kind of creative type. And again, I hate that they're called creative types, but I view them differently. But many of them, again, were never appreciated in their time. I mean, hell, they killed Socrates for corrupting the minds of the youth in Athens. Many artists and their works were never appreciated in their time. And now they're like this revered person, but in their current society, they were these broke pieces of shit, right? And they would be the welfare junkies of today. But now they're like viewed, now they're on the walls of our schools and, all these quotes to these wonderful, but you guys pissed on them all the time. You guys pissed on them the whole time when, in their life. Like, and I'm saying you guys, I just mean like the society at the time pissed on these people and told them they were garbage, they were worth nothing, they contributed nothing to society, they were dead weight. And then now you got a fucking poster on the classroom wall with their fucking head on it. So, and yeah, of course, to think that we've moved past that and we're now this perfect system of identifying things of value and things of not value, you are a fool. You don't think there's people that, are the equivalent of these broke artists, Da Vinci or Socrates, that are just rotting, and maybe they're in jail because they got arrested for something stupid. Again, maybe they're just living in a basement somewhere being a bum. But again, they're a bum in society's eyes, and I don't view them that way. And again, I don't know who these people are. There's not really a foolproof way of identifying them, but I think part of this is this, the society holding people hostage in some sense. They don't really have a choice. Again, I feel like the people who do this are, I guess, absolutists, and they refuse to compromise in the sense that they will choose to starve instead of, working at a Denny's or something. And it makes me wonder how many more people are, the equivalent of, they could be they could be Socrates, but instead they're flipping burgers at Denny's or something, because they have to have money to get a job, and they have all these wonderful ideas. Maybe they're this brilliant dancer, artist, but instead they have to go get a sales associate job because, they have to sacrifice that. So part of me is just, I know what would happen if I can understand quite clearly what would happen if I put on the sheepskin mask and I did what everyone told. I did it the normal way. I've seen it. I see it all over the place. Everyone, they get the job, they get the money, and then they do this. It's very, very like cut and dried formulaic thing. And I'm not shaming people that like love that process, but I think there's many that don't, and I guess there's the only glory to be found in that is within the minds of the people themselves. Right? Nobody's going to applaud me for, I guess, rejecting society's any notion of success. Because again, all these people that we revere now and look back on because they created some beautiful work of art or literature or whatever they made. Again, they were, but they were homeless pieces of shit that, but they rejected, they didn't go get the job at, at Denny's or whatever. I don't work at Denny's. I'm using that as an example of a job that people would piss on, or somebody that if they worked there, they would piss on. So part of me, the only really solutions I have to this, not even solutions, because I'm just talking about problems here. I don't have solutions for any of this. Because I don't shame people that, they just want to work at Denny's. I have no shame for someone who just works at Denny's. Again, maybe they're Socrates. I don't know, or whatever the modern day equivalent of it is. And Socrates was not a poor guy. I'm not using that but many other artists and I guess very influential people were bums of the day. I mean, so they were seen as bums of the day. They're obviously not bums now, viewing back on them. But history has its own way of identifying value. And even then, even people that we've never heard of, that no one cares what they made, and let's say they made works in obscurity, but I think the fact that they ever even made something should be significant, right? It's just because the Socrateses and the Da Vinci's we'd never even heard of, but they still painted, or the ones that we never heard of but they didn't paint because they were too busy doing other shit. It's just, I don't know. I suppose we only know what we have, and we don't know what we would be without that. Without the shackles of the way we structured modern society. Without those shackles, we wouldn't know what we've lost, because we don't know we lost it. So I don't know. Again, it's hard to speculate on what could be, but I think there are a certain subset of people that just can't. They don't have this economically viable thing, because that's a piece of advice that you get. Is like, let's say you like doing something. It's like, oh, I like making video games or making videos or something like that. It's like, well, find a way to make money with it. Okay, well, inherently you have to sacrifice like a lot to be able to make any money with it, right? Because then you're subjected to the laws of supply and demand and the economy and all this other shit, and an employer, and you're subject to so much more than like what you actually want to do, which is making. So like, again, if I say, oh, I like making videos, now I'd have to cater my videos and such that they made money. And if they didn't make money, I'd have to adjust. I'd have to essentially, again, sacrifice the autonomy to make them that they got views. So, which again is antithetical to the whole point of what the fuck I'm doing these for. And again, that's why I name these videos so stupidly. And of course, the 2 videos or whatever that I put, Arch Linux in the fucking title, they get 15,000 views or something stupid like that. And of course, this just goes to tell me. And again, if I wanted, to make money from this and be, economically viable, I just start jamming. That's all I do. Just churn out videos with clickbaity words in the thumbnail. And I did it to myself. I knew putting those stupid words in the title would get a lot more attention. I knew that I was kind of selling out in some way by doing that. But I think that is not why I do this. I can't give a shit. I refuse to. So I don't know, it kind of bleeds into, oh, well, do what you love, you never work a day in your life. There are many things that you can't get paid to do what you love to do, or you have to delude yourself. And I think, delusions are powerful. And I think many people don't, maybe it's the word delusion is a hard word to use because people think that you're just, somebody who's psychotic or something, but I use the word delusions very loosely. We're all deluding ourselves in one way or the other. And again, I'm not absolving myself of this in any way, but many people live their entire life based, I guess, reasoning from these principle level delusions about certain things, about the way the world works, or about why they'd be happy, or about even what makes them happy. Suppose that somebody, their series arc is that eating ice cream makes them happy. And somehow, through some magic, I swear, again, delusion really, they're able to convince themselves that their entire purpose is to consume ice cream at the end of every week or something like that. And again, if you're unable to convince them out of that delusion and they live their life to eat ice cream, I don't really know what to say, right? To someone like that. Like, I guess, congratulations, you're able to. And again, maybe they're lying to themselves. Maybe deep down inside, they know that, the whole ice cream thing is just a front. That they, they like doing something else. I don't know. But the fact is, if they're unable to admit or unable to even just talk themselves out of it, and maybe they truly believe that the whole point of their life is the ice cream, I guess they won. I guess that's how you win life, is just to fall into such a level, such a trap of delusion that no amount of anything can talk you out of your own thing. And I don't know, if the person just lives their entire life is ice cream centered, I envy you, man. I guess that's all I have to say. I don't know. I can't even relate to that in the slightest. I mean, I wish it was spelled out that clearly for me, right? If everyone just was plopped on the earth and they were given a strict task list of here's what the point of your life is, and they were able to believe that wholeheartedly, right? You pop a baby, baby comes out, you just give them a list. Here's the point of your life, and the baby just believes it. They buy it. Whatever you wrote on there doesn't even matter. Doesn't even matter what you wrote on there. They believe it, and they're going to do it. And if they do believe it and do, I mean, I guess then they win. I don't even know what to say. But I think many people, or I guess me, I suppose I can't even say many people. I am handed this list of things. Oh, do this, you'll be happy. I go, well, who wrote this? Who gave me this list? What is it? Is this really? What does this mean? Are you sure this is right? I don't believe you, right? That the point of my life is to get a job, make money, and have babies, make a house, or build a house or some shit. I don't buy that this. Who gave you this list? God? What? Who's God? Let me talk to him. So I don't know. Part of it's just a blind belief in things. If you're handed this list, so I don't know. No one gave me any list what to do, and I'm telling you, making Minecraft videos was not on the list. If it was, because these have been a financial failure, but that is not the point. I do not care. But yeah, I don't know. I suppose that delusions are powerful, man. If you're, again, able to talk yourself into something, if you really believe that you could in good faith be a sales associate for some fucking shit or whatever, and that was your point of your life, was to do that, and you just loved every minute of it, more power to you. But I think in that position, you have to understand, if you're the ice cream man, who just their whole point of their life is to eat ice cream, you have to at least understand that not everybody's purpose is so cut and dry. Again, I wish that it was so easy for me to believe that my point was ice cream, and I would be skeptical that the point of your life is to eat ice cream. I think using a silly example like that would, but even with more nuanced examples, like the point of my life is to be a dancer, it's like, again, I would even call that into question, like, how do you know, or whatever, maybe you just like dancing, maybe you just like ice cream, what's the difference? But I think if you're in that position, I think, again, I don't know that you can have an opinion on what, just discover what your ice cream is, and then you can do it, and you'll be happy the rest of your life. Thanks, that really helps. It's like that, and I'm glad that you were handed this list and you believe whatever you saw on the list. But not only was I not given a list of what is going to make me happy or what, I don't know, right? I don't know that I wouldn't trust that. Who wrote? I mean, I don't know. Maybe it's just I need to be more blindly trusting of stuff. But at a certain point, I don't know that is a good answer either. That feels just as flawed as just eating ice cream as my point of life. And again, using ice cream as the example, it seems silly, and it kind of invalidates people's decision. But I think people that swear by having, this is why they exist, this is what they want to do every day, this is what their life is, I would argue, are ignoring maybe their shadow self, or whatever word that your psychologist or philosopher of choice uses. I think they're ignoring that, for one. And two, don't impose the fact that you've cracked the case on other people. Because again, I remain a skeptic of the purpose of my life, and I don't want to eat ice cream every day. That's not my series arc. So don't rush me, motherfucker. And it's certainly not working at GameStop or Denny's or something stupid like that either, just to make money. So I don't know, I suppose that the real surface example that I could harp on is people that their whole purpose is to make money. That is a trivially frivolous, ice cream purpose. Or I think the word that the Japanese use is Ikigai, Ikigia, maybe. or AI maybe. I don't know. You can look it up, but it's it's like the Japanese word or the Korean word or something for like point of purpose of life, basically. And there are all these different frameworks and little graphs that help you figure it out. And like yeah, if the answer to my life is a fucking graph, I haven't figured it out yet. And I mean, again, I think maybe the real answer here is there is no answer, and like that's the whole point of your life is to wrestle with the answer of no answer to life, which is fine. But I think at that point, I'm doing exactly what I'm supposed to be doing, right? Is wrestling with that answer. Like, if the point of my life is to wrestle with the answer to life, then here, that's what I'm doing. I'm winning, right? I'm winning, son. So yeah, maybe that is the point of my life, is to be somebody who's delusional enough to believe that they need to be worried about what their point of their life is, and I'm doing it. So I'm exactly where I should be. And maybe that's the real red pill in this whole thing, is at least for me. So I guess figure it out for yourself. But I don't know. I certainly don't believe in imposing on other people's stuff. It's like the whole copyleft thing. I'll leave you to your own devices, and if you figured it out, great. Let kind of do their own. Everyone do their own thing. Don't judge overtly just because you've cracked the ice cream case. So I don't know. I guess that kind of devolved into something I was not expecting to, but whatever. That's kind of the nature of these things. But I don't know. Hopefully you found it interesting, and I guess if you know the point of your life, make me feel bad by dropping it in the comments and telling me how much ice cream you eat and how happy you are. So I guess that's it's your action item. Not that I give action items. Actually, if you watch this far, don't even bother commenting. But anyway, that'll be it for this episode. So thanks for watching, and I will see you guys in the next one. Peace out.